This is from Jeanne de Salzmann's book, The Reality of Being, The Fourth Way to Gurdjieff, published in 2011. And I'm going to read number 4. They are, you could call them chapters, so I'll just call it chapter 4. Entitled, I Am Not Here. I in quotation marks. Real I comes from essence. Its development depends on the wish of essence. A wish to be, and then a wish to become able to be. Essence is formed from impressions that are assimilated in early childhood, usually up to the age of 5 or 6, when a fissure appears between essence and personality. In order to develop further, essence must become active in spite of resistance from the pressure of personality. We need to remember ourselves for our essence to receive impressions. Only in a conscious state can we see the difference between essence and personality. Ordinarily, impressions are received in a mechanical way. They are received by our personality, which reacts with automatic thoughts and feelings that depend on its conditioning. We do not assimilate impressions because personality itself cannot be alive. It is dead. In order to be assimilated and transformed, impressions have to be received by essence. This requires a conscious effort at the moment of the impression, and it requires a definite feeling, a feeling of love for being present. We must respond to impressions no longer from the vantage point of personality, but from love for being present. This will transform our whole way of thinking and feeling. The first necessity is to have an impression of myself. This begins with a shock when the question, who am I, arises. For an instant, there is a stop, an interval that allows my energy, my attention, to change direction. It turns back toward me, and the question now touches me. This energy brings a vibration, a note that did not sound until now. It is subtle, very fine, but nevertheless communicates. I feel it. It is an impression I receive, an impression of a life in me. All my possibilities are here. What follows, whether I will open to the experience of presence, depends on the way I receive this impression. We do not understand the moment of receiving an impression and why it is so important. We need to be present because it is the shock of the impression that drives us. If there is nobody here at the moment an impression is received, I react automatically, blindly, passively, and I am lost in the reaction. I refuse the impression of myself as I am. In thinking, in reacting, in interposing my ordinary I in the reception of this impression, I close myself. I am imagining what I am. I do not know the reality. I am the prisoner of this imagination, the lie of my false I. Usually I try to awake by forcing, but it does not work. I can and must learn to awake by opening consciously to the impression of myself and seeing what I am at the very moment. This will be a shock that awakens me, a shock brought by an impression that I receive. It requires a freedom to be in movement, not to stop the movement. In order to wish to be present, I must see that I am asleep. I am not here. I am enclosed in a circle of petty interests and avidity in which my I is lost, and it will remain lost unless I can relate to something higher. The first condition is to know in myself a different quality, higher than what I ordinarily am. Then my life will take on a new meaning. Without this condition, there can be no work. I must remember there is another life and at the same time experience the life that I am leading. This is awakening. I awake to these two realities. I need to understand that by myself, without a relation with something higher. I am nothing. I can do nothing. By myself alone, I can only remain lost in this circle of interests. I have no quality that allows me to escape. I can escape only if I feel my absolute nothingness and begin to feel the need for help. I must feel the need to relate myself to something higher, to open to another quality. Again, that's from The Reality of Being by Jeanne de Salzmann. Thank you.